episode of the Clone Wars today. I will watch another episode of the Clone Wars today. So we're back with another episode of the Clone Wars. This one takes place shortly after the previous episode, and it's Trace and Ahsoka, and Trace is working on her ship, which he calls the Silver Angel. And there's a little bit of tension still between Ahsoka and Rafa, a lot more tension as this episode continues. But one thing that both Chase and Rafa share is they wonder how Ahsoka seems to know a lot about stuff like the Pikes, the Republic, the Jedi, and stuff like that. Rafa comes to Chase with a job because Rafa couldn't get another person to do this job that they're after. And it's that Chase, with her ship, the Silver Angel, Rafa and Ahsoka, they're gonna fly towards the spice mines of Kessel to pick up some spice for medicine. And Ahsoka is reluctant of this plan. Well, I don't think they actually know what's going on. She knows exactly what's going on yet. You can see that Rafa really does not trust Ahsoka. And they go up from the underground area of Coruscant up to like where the Republic is, and you see the look of shock on Trace's face when viewing basically like this better world, and she admires it so much she doesn't realize she's in the Republic warship area, and she gets called out. She gets a transmission from General Yularen, or Moff Yularen, or Governor, I don't remember what, General Yularen. Anakin is on the ship, and he and Ahsoka actually sense each other, and Anakin convinces Yularen to let that ship go. So that was kind of a cool moment that they were able to acknowledge that Anakin and Ahsoka could still sense each other through the Force. And Ahsoka and Rafa get into a debate dealing with the people of Kessel getting the spice, but ultimately they go there and they have a little dinner with a Twi'lek. I don't remember his name. They said there was a king, but you didn't see the king in this. And they have a dinner about it. Ahsoka confronts this Twi'lek guy, and he's like, rest assured, this is all legal, this is all safe, we use a spice for medicine, and so forth. And our group goes to collect the spice, but they see that Trace initially thinks it's droid labor, but it's really slave labor that's making the spice, and they get it delivered, and there's a huge debated argument because they learn that this is being delivered to the Pikes, and the Pikes are corrupt people. They're part of the separatist movement there. I believe they're also a part of Darth Maul's crime syndicate. It's even talked about that they can take your life, they can take your ship, and Rafa and Ahsoka are having a really big argument about this when, in panic at the thought of losing her ship, Chase just abandons all the spice in space, which was a terrible move, Ahsoka and Rafa say, and you see a lot of tension between the two, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna soon figure out Ahsoka's past. They come up with a plan to trick the Pikes into just letting them go. And the plan is basically Ahsoka using a Jedi mind trick, saying, here are your credits, leave. And that's exactly what they're about to leave until one of the Pikes finds out there's no spice in the crate, and their ships converge on the Silver Angel.
And they
use the tractor beam to lock them. And they've got the Silver Angel trapped. And that's where we leave off on a cliffhanger. And I know that this is a short episode, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the follow-up episode, and we'll check back and see what happens there. So let's look at the next episode. Here we go. Just got back finishing that episode, and basically to quickly sum it up is they escape, they get captured, put in prison, the end. No, I'll go into it a little bit longer. Rafa, Chase, and Ahsoka are... Oh, not Chase. Sorry, Trace. Ahsoka, Trace, and Rafa are in the Pike's prison, and you actually learn about why they distrust the Jedi, and how there was an episode, one of the seasons, when Zero the Hutt was being saved from someone, and the Jedi caused a ship to crash, and that ship crash killed Trace and Rafa's parents, and the Jedi, who I'm assuming was Luminara based off their description, was saying that they had to make a choice I'm sorry, the Force will be with you, and left. And so so Trace and Rafa really just dislike the Jedi. And Rafa is tortured by the Pikes because they want to know where the spice is. But when they get to, oh yeah, I believe I said Rafa's the first one tortured in order to figure out where the spice is. And when they get to Trace manages to escape, as well as Ahsoka and Rafa, because Ahsoka secretly uses the Force to get them out of this predicament. And then there's a big chase throughout the Pike area too, and the Pikes are trying to stop Trace, Rafa, and Ahsoka, and through shenanigans they evade them, and then through some Force powers they do. But what's most interesting about this episode is you see some Mandalorians. They're in hoods, but you can tell it's them because of the masks that they wear, and I'm assuming this is Bo-Katan, and they talk about a mutual enemy that the Jedi and the Mandalorians have, and that's probably going to be that's more than likely Darth Maul. To sum up the episode, they evade, it's a long chase, and eventually Trace, Ahsoka, and Rafa are caught again, put back in prison. So that was kind of my criticism with the episode. I mean, I know you have to fill time, but it was just kind of like it started with them in prison and ended with them in prison. But then again, you can look at it like this is a really dire situation, and I'm really wondering if they're going to learn that Ahsoka was a Jedi, and if that's going to affect, how that will affect them if they do. So it was a fun episode. I like the first one that we did before a little bit more, but this is really cool too, and I can't wait to see how much further it goes. So see you guys later. May the Force be with you. Oh shoot.